With over 2 decades of world-class research and development, iPayables has created the most robust and comprehensive solution to capture invoice data and completely eliminate any need for manual entry. We will illustrate how this works by walking you through a day in the life of an invoice with iPayables. This invoice and its image will be completely transmitted to your computer without any need for data entry or fixing errors that are commonplace with other automation tools. We do this through two unique and highly effective solutions. The first solution is what we call our Iron Man methodology of applying both tech and talent to get the data off paper and PDF invoices without any errors or exceptions. We provide your suppliers with a new P.O. box address to send their paper invoices to, or a new email address for their PDFs. With OCR-like technology, we auto-populate the invoice with as much electronic data as possible. Then our talented indexers key in the remaining data sets based on guidelines you select and set. Our tech, tools, and talent help us go so fast that we actually have every invoice keyed twice by two independent indexers to ensure accuracy. If the invoices match, they move forward for submission. If not, a separate arbitrator takes a deeper dive into the invoice and evaluates the guidelines to ensure better performance next time. The following is a short clip from one of our skilled technicians demonstrating the effectiveness of this capture method.
Everything that comes in as PO, so it automatically comes to them as a PO. They don't have to choose PO or non-PO. But when I put this PO in, it's right there. So I'm going to type it in. You'll notice too, here's another Iron Man feature. You see this little circle that's going around? Well, it's looking in our database because the POs exist. Why not use that data? So we're going through and we're looking through the POs. As I type it, it's going to search every time, and it's getting closer and closer to the PO that I'm looking for. This is Andy Elliott. This is Andy Elliott. Now what I want you to pay attention to is if you look at all these fields here, as soon as I click this, we already know a bunch of information about the PO. We already know the terms. We already know the lines. Iron Man kicks in here, and when I click this, it just starts doing work for them. And so it just starts filling in boxes for them. And what we tell the team is if it filled the box in, just leave it the way it is. So we had like 7, 8 different boxes here. Now this one's filled out for us. This one's already filled out. The line's already filled out. We don't have to do that. We only have 4 or 5 lines we got to fill out, or fields we have to fill out now.
You can see here several aspects of our artificial intelligence and OCR-like technology in our Iron Man solution. Here, the customer name auto-populates upon entry. Also, business units are already in the database. As our indexing team starts typing, the business unit pulls up and they quickly hit enter. During the implementation period, we work with your team to capture these guidelines and transfer AP's tribal knowledge into a series of rules within our application that can be easily followed by any human we plug into the system for indexing key data. Included in this Iron Man solution is a formidable and robust feedback loop for AP to continue enhancing and improving upon this tribal knowledge transfer through our imaging work list.
So here's an invoice on the imaging work list. It got to the imaging work list because it failed edits. So what does that mean? That means that there's something in here where the invoice wasn't copacetic. We filled out what we saw, it came in, but it failed edits because of a total, or the vendor wasn't found, or something. As a person on the customer side, I can take this invoice, it came from imaging, and I can go to the left slider here, and I can image index feedback. So I can click this here, and I can tell the indexers, I can say, all right, this is a, what field did they screw up on? They screwed up on terms. Okay, do you request us to change the guideline? Because here's your guideline for that. This is the guideline that we're seeing. So is this wrong? Would you like us to change it? Cool, request a change. That means that somebody's gonna call you so we can discuss this. If not, just tell us it's an error. You can say both. It's an error, but you want to talk to us about it. You want us to redo the invoice? Cool. We're going to delete this one. It's going to get sent back to us, and we're going to redo it with your information that you sent to us. So they have a mechanism to reach back to us. And it's not just the imaging work list. So if I cancel here and I go to image search and I look for an invoice, let's do all people, and let's say that the source is image. Let's say the invoice, if we look over here at these things, this one's already submitted, or it's match exception, or it's paid, it doesn't matter. I take one of these invoices and I open them, that feedback still exists on the left side. So they can go here, and so somebody after paying, they're like, oh man, how'd this get through? It went through our AP, it broke something, oh, it came from imaging. Well, let's go over here and give them some feedback, and it's the same feedback. They can come back and say, hey, you know what, we paid this wrong, can you redo this one? Here's some notes. It'll give us some notes. And this is something that we look at constantly. So we can get information from them and they don't have to pick up the phone. It's just through the application, the invoices just get taken care of.
We found that about 50% of your suppliers prefer to continue sending paper or PDFs, and we can provide such a comprehensive and meticulous offering because we found that about 50% of your suppliers prefer our patented software as a service tool that allows them direct, easy to use self-service invoicing. Our portal captures data one of two ways: file upload and online entry. File upload means that iPayables is basically acting as a bolt-on interface between your system and your supplier system. You've heard of EDI, or electronic data interchange. Well, that's what our team does. We help your larger, more sophisticated suppliers submit their invoicing data directly through by means of a simple XML or CSV file. And in fact, many of your suppliers are likely already doing this with customers of theirs already in iPayables. We simply inform them that you're now an iPayables customer too, and the exchange mechanism to iPayables is already set up with that supplier. For online entry, your supplier can simply log into a landing page with your company logo on it and submit their invoice directly into our application. Our software makes it very easy for them to do so. The supplier simply keys in the PO number, and the associated data from that PO flips onto the application for easy review and submittal. We recently conducted a supplier survey in our database of over 200,000 suppliers and received feedback that an overwhelming majority found the application very easy to use. In addition, almost 90% of suppliers prefer having the tools and technology to work out their own PO exceptions rather than facing delays and frustrations working through AP to get them resolved. This simple and systematic approach of capturing your invoice data is unique in that we take a supplier-centric approach, meaning our vendor adoption team will help your suppliers onboard in the way that makes the most sense for your suppliers, maintaining and even improving those strong relationships your purchasing team has developed. So why is this capture functionality so important to you and your organization? This table of data comes from an independent research firm that compared this type of best-in-class invoicing to all others. You can see at the top of the table here are the core reasons for implementing a system like this. Reduce your costs to process an invoice and improve the time it takes to get an invoice paid. These metrics drive value to your organization. And the metric we focus on to determine the effectiveness of your automation strategy is this number right here: straight-through processing. This independent study showed that most best-in-class automation solutions achieve greater than 50%. iPayables, our customers average between 80 and 90% straight through because our Ironman paper capture process and our industry-leading self-service portal, supported by our experienced vendor adoption team, drives to that effectiveness. AP automation is a broad topic, and there are myriad methods and solutions in the marketplace that help to drive value. But iPayables seeks to achieve a class of its own with its comprehensive, best-in-class capture of your invoicing data by completely eliminating any need for manual entry or corrections of errors.